church because it's the right thing to do. You go to encounter God's presence. You study to get to know Him and encounter Him. You pray to get to know Him and encounter Him. You make it the goal, the reason of life to know Him. And you are willing to lose anything for this price, to know Him. You follow me? That's when you start to know Him. And the more you know Him, the more you love Him. And the more you love Him, the more you want Him, so you seek Him even more. And then you get to know Him more and you love Him even more. So you seek Him more. You follow me? And it never ends. And we talk a lot about Him. But we don't know Him, because if we knew Him, we would have peace, whatever we would go through. Because we would know that we are in His hands. You follow me? So if we don't have peace, it means that we don't know Him. Wow. I hope you heard what I said. So stop struggling and trying to solve problems. Start seeking God. Okay, back to the story. I know where I am. So he said, that man from Michigan, you remember? We talked about Michigan. He said, I will have real prayer. And that's not taka 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 ta, amen. That's spending time with Him. And he called me, he didn't, he talked to me next day. And he said, that's not easy. I said, sure it's not easy. Satan wants you to pray and think that you are okay. But he doesn't want you to know Christ, because to know Christ is life eternal. And when you start to know Christ, Satan is going to throw anything at you. But I said, never give up. Never give up. You remember? Never give up. If you live or die, not important. This is what is important, to know Him. God allows you to face challenges. So you prove that you want Him and you really want Him. And if you really want Him and focus on it, God is so pleased, because He wants you to give up the other things. Because whatever comes between you and God, that's your God. Including your children. If your children come between you and God, that's your God. That's who you worship. Job comes between you and God, that's your God. Nothing should come between you and God. If you love sleep more than you love relationship with God in the morning, sleep is your God. Like it or not. I don't care if you like it or not. It's not my business, it's your business. My business is to tell you and to pray for you. Everything else, none of my business. So, I just have to tell you the way it is. Nothing should come between you and God. Zero. Nada. Back to the story. So he started to pray that way. And he told me after a week, nothing. And I said, man, don't look for answers. Don't look for change. Don't look for progress. Look for Him. If you look for progress and you don't see progress, you'll get discouraged and give up. Look for Him regardless if you have progress or not, if you live or die. You follow me? He said, I got it, Pavel, I got it. Well, I finished field evangelism. I left, went back to Andrews, finished Andrews. I was called in Wisconsin. Next winter, he calls me. He says, it took a while, but you will not believe how God talks to me daily. I said, I do believe. If you keep doing what you started to do, you will get there. There is no other way. Absolutely, you will get there. It's just a matter of time. If you don't give up, you will get there. Because He will finish what He started. He is able. He promised. He promised, if you seek me, I will let myself be found. Do you want anything else? It's clear. So I said, I knew that you keep doing it, you will get there. And I said, give me the story. I want to hear the story. He said, well, there are many stories. Which one? I said, give me one. I don't have all the time. So he gave me one. He said, well, I was driving to work. And he said, it was snow. I said, nothing new. Michigan snow, mountains of snow. Snow could be taller than the mall. You see the snow and you don't see the mall. That's crazy. You shovel until you break your back. Anyway, so he said, I was driving through the snow on Interstate 94. And he says, instead of praying in the morning, as I used to pray months ago, Lord, help me, be with me, bless me, help me with this, help me with that. He said, I listened. And I said, Lord, I want you. And I'm so blessed that I got closer to you. And then he said, I kept quiet. And I thought about being actually in his presence. When you talk to God, by the way, you need to remember who you are addressing. Yes. You need to realize you go in the presence of the Most Holy. Amen. Think about it. So he said, Lord, I am in your presence. What a privilege. And then he said, I thought about it. And I realized that I am at his feet. So I said, Lord, I cannot believe how much you have blessed me. Thank you. And then I was listening. And he said, sometime God would put thoughts in my mind, sometime nothing. And then he said, I opened the Word. And I read only one verse. And then I was thinking about it. And then he said, after spending this type of relationship with him, he said, 2 hours went like that. He said, you lose yourself when you do that. And then he said, I finished prayer saying this, Lord, I may forget about you today because I will be busy. Don't let me get away from you. Amen. Amen. Remind me, keep me with you so I never depart. Amen. And by the way, Lord, I made myself available. Here I am. If you have a job for me, talk to me. I will do it. Amen. Use me. And he said, Lord, I'm not going to say amen because I don't intend to stop the prayer. I will just get busy driving, but we are together. Yes. Yes. And he kept driving through the snow. And he says, as I was driving, the Lord talked to me. And he does it almost daily. He said he doesn't do it unless he has a job for me. But every day when I ask to serve, he said, be careful what you ask because he will answer. When I ask that he would give me opportunities, he gives me opportunities. So the Lord said in my mind, look to the right. And he said, I turned my head. And there was the field all as far as you can see, white covered with snow. I said, I saw something on the snow. And I said to my wife, honey, there was something white on the snow. And the wife says, honey, snow is white. I said, no, there was something white on the white. And she says, honey, you had too much food last night. He said, no. God talked to me, and I know his voice. So he got on the no U-turn, and he turned. He went back to the previous exit. He turned, and he came back slow, watching. Sure enough, there was an older man in a white robe. How do you call it? Whatever, English, doesn't matter. With gray hair that was fallen in the snow, and it snowed on him. And he put the hazard lights, and he went there and took him in the car and brought him to the closest hospital. And the doctor said, a matter of minutes, and he would have died. And the doctor said, you see here, he has Alzheimer's. Probably he left to go home and he forgot where home is. They called the family. The daughter came. And the daughter said, how did you see him in the snow? I said, well, long story. Tell me. Well, this is how I pray. So I asked the Lord to talk to me and to give me something to do. And he gave me, and he said, look to the right. And I looked, and she says, tell me where is your church. I want to go to your church. And he says, but we keep Saturday, not Sunday. I don't care if you keep even Tuesday. I want that church. But we don't eat pork. I don't care what you eat. I want that church. I want a church where God is real. Amen. Hello?